So I'm sure you all have heard me talk about how I ride horses, and I was heavily involved in the competition world. So today I want to share with you something that has been brought to my attention due to being in that world. So my childhood was filled with lots of early mornings at horse shows and bonding with new horses and ponies. And as I got older, I progressed in the competition world where things became less about fun and more about winning. You see, the more your horse wins, the more money you have the chance of winning. Being on the inside of the scene, I witnessed people I was associated with stop treating these animals like pets and more like property. This is how the world of horse slaughter and the cruelty behind it was brought to my attention. When I was 13 years old, I met a horse named Money. Money was a 6-time national champion and a 2-time world champion. One day, Money began to founder, and foundering is when they put too much weight on and their bones and their hooves begin to grow out like an angle, and they have no choice but to either be put down or to retire and live in pasture. The owner and the trainer were both furious because he was once worth $200,000, and after foundering, he was only worth $1,500. So her solution was to sell him for $500 to the kill buyers, which are the companies that buy the horses and sell them to foreign slaughterhouses. Luckily, my dad and I decided to adopt Money and pay for all his vet bills and stuff, and then we ended up putting him down, obviously. But my stance against horse slaughter remains. Though all the slaughterhouses in the United States have been shut down due to inhumane treatment, the industry of trafficking horses for slaughter to Mexico or Canada is going stronger than ever. In 2007, 45,000 horses were shipped to Mexico compared to 11,000 in 2006. After doing some research, I even found out that most of them are backyard horses or pets that have been stolen just so people can make money off of it. And then I even met a guy who was a very famous show jumper who sold his horse because his speed going through the courses decreased, and he thought he was a waste of money, so he sold him to the slaughterhouses. I always wondered if these people knew what happened to their horses after being handed them over to the kill buyers. So first, the horses are stuffed into double-decker trailers that are designed for cattle, which are like 2 times too small for a horse because they're obviously bigger than a cow. And also their balance isn't as good as a cow, so driving on the freeways, they lose their balance and they fall over and they hurt themselves. And then due to the small amount, they're forced to keep their heads down because they can't raise their heads because it's too short for them. So that causes stress, and they spend 24 hours in that position with no food or water. When they reach the destination, they are stuffed into small corrals, and they put the stallions with other stallions and the mares with stallions, which usually causes fights, which could end up with death and a lot of injuries. And the law states that if any of them are to be hurt or lay down and not be able to get up, they are to be euthanized. But this, however, is not the case because the slaughterhouses don't want to spend money on something they're supposed to profit from. So they force them to get up by grabbing chains and dragging them there, or using cow prods, which is very cruel. And they've been caught on camera whipping the horses in the face because they were too afraid to move forward to the kill room. And horses are prey animals, so they have a large fight or flight instinct. And when they're in an environment like this, their instinct is not to walk forward. So obviously, doing things like that to them just raises their fear and stress levels. And some of the mares have even been reported to give birth in the kill room. And instead of helping them, they still slaughter the mare, or they slaughter the foal also because their skin is worth 10 times more because they can sell it to high-end like purse companies or shoes or anything like that. The federal law states that all animals for human consumption must be rendered unconscious before the slaughtering process even begins. However, the Canadian and Mexican slaughterhouses have been caught on video hoisting conscious horses up by one rear leg and cutting their throats before or without doing what they're supposed to do to make them unconscious. The act of horse slaughter is a cruel and inhumane act that needs to be stopped. Recently, President Obama lifted the ban on horse slaughter in the United States despite the fact that 70% of Americans oppose it. Hopefully, after hearing the speech, you will join the side that opposes such heartbreaking cruelty.
right, Chili, what did you think?
I thought that the speech was a pretty good speech. The thesis was told early on in the speech. She made pretty good eye contact with the audience, as well as her credibility was raised due to the fact that she rides horses and she's grown up with horses and such like that. So the audience is able to know that she does have a passion for this. It wasn't like something that was like done last minute, but so to speak, something in her lifetime that she made it, so to speak. There are a few things that I don't know, maybe it was just me that was curious, but that you could have elaborated on, such as how they make the horses unconscious before they slaughter them, and how they're supposed to, and what are the FDA approved ways to do it, which are not ways to do it, and stuff like that. But all in all, it was a pretty good speech. I liked it too.
All right, well, I like the personal background that you have at the beginning and the story you tell about money, and I think that that's a good way for us to relate to the subject and get some emotional involvement in what you're talking about. You identify what the topic is. It really didn't feel to me like it was as clear what your goal was or what the ultimate thesis was until the end of the speech, when you've got a very clear statement of what that goal is. In the body of the speech, there's a lot of information that suggests that this is a widespread practice, at least it sounds widespread with the numbers that you're talking about, and that because of the limitations in the U.S., that it's we're shipping horses to Mexico and Canada for this process. I didn't get many source citations on this data. I have no doubt, I should say, that what you've got here is accurate, but your credibility would go up even more if you could tell us where the information came from. You mentioned in two or three places that some of these things have been caught on video. Well, who caught them on video? Who posted them for us to look at? We might already be suspicious if it's PETA, because we know about them. But the idea that there's a problem here, I don't think there's a lot of dispute about this. And let's face it, most people relate to horses a lot more differently than they do with chickens and cows and all those other animals, and you should exploit that as much as you can. I thought you did a good job with that opening example as a way of doing that. The delivery is pretty solid for the most part. You do have that awkward ankle crossing thing that goes on occasionally. That's where your uncertainty comes out. All right, thank you.